All right, hello everyone, welcome back. So today is all about self-care. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dom. I am one of the attachment counselors at St. Mary's. A couple weeks ago when we first started going lives and doing some online programming, a couple people had actually said, wanting to see videos of me just being myself. I don't really know what that means, but today I'm going to talk about self-care. I'm going to talk about pet care and how it can help develop a good self-care routine. I'm going to talk a little bit about my snails and how they help me develop and maintain my own self-care routine. And as you can see, I am coming at you guys today from the comfort of my own home and the comfort of my orthopedic slippers. So hopefully all of that kind of checks off the boxes of, self-care and seeing me just being myself. So stay tuned. So, what is self care? Self care is something that we intentionally do to take care of our physical health, mental health, and our emotional health. It's something that we actively do. When we're doing self care or practicing self care, there's lots and lots of ways that you can do it, but you want to be aware of how it feels when you're doing it, what the outcome is, um, and what exactly it is that you're doing. What is self care not supposed to be? Self care should never be something that you really feel like you have to force yourself to do, and it shouldn't be something that you don't want to do. That's a really, really big piece. That's why it's important to find things that you can do that you want to build into a routine, because routine is definitely a big part of self care, because the more you can be mindful of it, the easier it is to practice, and then hopefully the more benefits you're going to see from having a good self-care routine. So how do I make my pet snails part of my self-care routine? One of the big things that I actually get from these guys is I'm very visual. I like aesthetic. Anyone that's been in my office definitely knows that I like things a certain way. I like things to be very bright and original and frankly pretty, right? Um, so I do like to be artistic. I don't always necessarily have maybe the creative juices that I would like to have. So sometimes it can be really hard for me to get what I want out of art, which is, really just focusing my energy on just that task, right? The thing about art that I have a problem with sometimes is that, again, I am a little bit of a perfectionist myself. So if my head's not necessarily in it, I might not necessarily get the visual result that I want to get, and therefore it might really feel a little bit fruitless, or like I didn't get anything out of it. And then I might get frustrated by it, which kind of defeats the purpose of self-care, right? Because, going back to before, it's not something that we want to feel forced, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something that we really tie a ton of meaning to, or that's going to leave us feeling discouraged. So what I like about my snails is, you can see there's a little bit of a nice aesthetic going on in here. The outcome is there still that nice aesthetic that I like to get, and are there care requirements still met as the result of the work that I've done? That's something that I really take from caring for my snails. Some of you know that I really do not like getting messy. I'm really not a messy person. This is also a really fun way for me to get my hands dirty in a way that I'm comfortable with. I was really hoping today to get in here and actually just like show you what exactly it is that I do to care for my snails. However, I don't know if you can see there's a little hole in the dirt right around here. One of my snails is actually laying eggs as I speak, so I really didn't want to get in there and disturb him too much, because it's quite exhausting for them. So I thought it would just be better if I kind of stayed out of their space and just talked about it instead. Um, but yeah, that's definitely something that's really fun for me. I have to actively kind of get in there with my hands. I have to get messy, which is something sometimes, you don't always necessarily want to do, or sometimes can feel like more of a chore. So that's why, whatever your self care routine is, it has to be something that works for you, that isn't going to be forced and isn't going to leave you feeling really negative or taken away from in any way. This is just a safe way for me to get my hands dirty and kind of get a little bit creative and playful at the same time. Okay, so, oh, this is Puddles. Puddles, look. Yeah, he's not gonna look. Just in case you guys are curious or your little ones were curious, I thought that I would take a quick second and actually show you one of my snails. So I'm going to show you Shelator, because he's the only one that's awake and also not hiding. So this guy here is one of my 4 big guys. This one's Shelator. He is the newest to my snail squad in the big terrarium. So he is one of 4 in there. So he's Shelator. I've got Lord Shellington, Snailer Jerry, and Marcellus Wallace. So I'm hoping that this video has been helpful for you. I know I talked a lot. So again, it was very specific, right? Because everyone's self-care routine is going to look different. And maybe for some people, taking care of a pet is not something that's going to be helpful for you, right? Because again, we really don't want self-care to be something that is forced or that we don't enjoy doing. I just wanted to share this because I feel it's kind of a unique way that works for me, and there's lots and lots of different ways that we can practice self-care. Every week we're going to talk about self-care in different ways. Promise this is the last time that I'm going to talk about my snails specifically, except for next week when I talk about letter writing and refer to it as snail mail, because I'm just being myself and that's what I do. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you guys at home have built your pets into your self-care routine, I would love to hear about it. Like, let's talk about it. Let's share with people, right? Because maybe not everyone's thought of pet care as self-care, but would like to know more about the different ways. Again, everyone's self-care routine is totally unique, totally individual. So definitely please share. I hope seeing my snails or me talking about my snails wasn't like the weirdest thing. I very much love them. So thank you for tuning in. And I'm really hoping that you got something out of this that maybe you hadn't considered before. Thanks, guys.